Hello and salutations, people there of the internet. I'm Dung911, and tonight I'll be your GM for this episode of Star Trek Reliant, the Star Trek Adventures campaign experience where we just do stuff in the Star Trek Online universe, or just more or less the time. So, without further ado, let's introduce who we have tonight. So, starting with our man out of time and science officer, D.B. Wells.
We're just going to have a nice, calm session today. What could possibly go wrong?
And along the adventure, we also have our other science officer, Grawl.
I don't mean to alarm anyone, but I think I see a giant green hand, and it might be flipping us off. I can't tell.
We've got our a former science officer turned con officer, Kara Jinrani.
There is no Kara, only Zool.
And someone who I don't think has had science officer experience in his academy background, Rick Tier, chief engineer.
Yeah, I was going to say, technically speaking, Kara's never been a science officer. She's only been a con officer.
Like, in terms of, like, her active duty, but she started off as, like, having, like, science specialization in the UK.
This is true.
Yes, Rick knows just enough science for it to be dangerous and to be able to make things.
Little learning is a dangerous thing.
Which is wondering how did his hand get so big?
Alrighty, so let us set the scene for tonight's episode. We have explored, over the last few episodes, a derelict space station with surprising discoveries made along the way for the origin of the synths, some relationships with the Borg, and some interesting hostile powers with wider implications for what they might be associated with. But as the USS Reliant traveled back from that location to Starbase Magellan, well, you fulfilled your primary mission as an exploration vessel in relatively uncharted space, specifically doing some planetary and stellar surveys, finding, among the mix of various planetoids and star systems, a rather interesting set of planets huddled around a binary star system. Two brown dwarfs, but together making a considerable amount of radiant light and energy. And the planets around them, well, they look fairly hospitable. I mean, you've got some L-class, you've got some K-class, and then a nice little M-class. So, it's got a little bit of a native flora and fauna, at least from what you expected from orbit, and the Reliant is pulling gently into station-keeping orbit to do some surveys of the local ecosystem. So, let us open the floor to what people are doing as the USS Reliant is about to do its normal day job.
Kara just kind of raises an electronic eyebrow from the con station and just says, I didn't think that brown dwarfs put off enough radiation to support life. Must be an awfully small orbit.
Yep, you've got two of them huddled close together, and yeah, it is a small orbit. Everything's, like, the rocky planetoids are tightly around it. You've got a gas giant further off, but most of the matter in the system was concentrated into the twin stars at the...
So, what are the odds on if the stars collide, that's going to become a main sequence?
We can do a roll for it, but the answer is maybe.
Okay, well, not sure I want to live there.
Well, something's living down there.
Coral is already at work scanning the planets.
All right, with some scanning rolls, go ahead and give me an insight science roll. And someone may also assist from the science department.
Well, seeing as Daniel is the only other active science department person in the session right now...
I was going to say, you don't want me rolling insight science. That's a 9.
Same for
You know what,
Rick.
yeah. Daniel's just kind of, I guess, just on the bridge. He hasn't really been paying attention, but then Grawl, like, nudges him, like, ask him to help with this. He's like, oh, okay.
So go ahead and give me an insight science roll with 1 dice.
Technically, the Reliant should also help with this.
Oh, yes. Let me bring up the drive.
Life forms, you funny little life forms. Where are you?
Excellent.
I'm learning how to use the rolls to make it so it's not 2d20 every time.
Yay!
Okay. And I now realize that actually Grawl rolled in the wrong chat channel, but now we have 2 successes.
Oh, oops. Sorry.
No, you're fine. I just couldn't understand why I wasn't seeing DBs roll, and then I noticed, oh, wait, that's... Yeah.
I was wondering why DV hadn't rolled. I didn't realize I hadn't flipped over.
No successes from the Reliant assist. So, with 2
Everyone is
successes,
confused by planet around dual brown dwarfs.
The consoles aren't calibrated for this specific radiation signature because it's not really expected.
Well, between the various data coming in, you're able to identify that, hey, yes, you do have some life. There is just enough energy to support a relatively scrubby ecosystem. So really, it's not too productive, even though it's a fairly fertile planet. It's just there's not that much energy coming. But you still have, low-lying shrubby plain with occasional gnarled woody vegetation. You're able to pick up and just sort of visualize that on scan as well. Although what you also detect are some strange alloy readings that aren't typically associated with natural formations. So things like duranium, that's, say, associated with starship hulls. Not in any particular concentrations, just sort of scattered around.
We're detecting...
So as Rick T looks over that, can he identify any kind of energy readings from the surface?
There are no energy readings. So, Grawl?
Looks like we've got some readings of geranium, which seems to imply a later stage of civilization, so might have come from a ship. We should probably check it out.
I will say, it's not in any particular concentrated area, so unless it came from a ship and the ship was disassembled and reused for other things, it was probably just more widespread in general.
I doubt that, since geranium is something that only fairly advanced cultures can make.
Look, I'll tell you what you're looking at. You're looking at debris from starships in orbit.
That's probably the most likely effect. There's no signs of any potential survivors, no NG readings indication of kind of society or sapient people.
Are there any readings of stuff like in orbit around the planets now that Kars mentioned that?
Let's go ahead and give another insight science roll, or insight engineering, because you know that you're looking for hull plating.
Yep.
I'm gonna do science because it's a little bit bigger.
Yep, I will assist with if I can.
You can go ahead and assist, but you're already dealing with a complication from the ship.
Does xenoarchaeology count for focus?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, well, something about this system does not agree with the ship.
I'm
All right.
trying to.
You get 3.
I don't think.
Well,
Rick
we already
has
have
focus. I mean.
All right.
Whichever
I'll go
one of
ahead
you
and
assists, it's pretty much the same.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and allow only one assist, because otherwise that's 4 successes out of the bunch. So let's go ahead and just have it be one of the 2. But at any rate, though, with 3 successes and a complication, what you find is that there aren't that many there aren't that many duranium signatures, but there's a few. So you know that there's a bit in orbit. So if there's stuff that's come down, it's come down and sort of been fairly well cleaned out over time. At this point, though, you do note the sensors are not behaving as they should. Like you're getting a lot of calibration errors. You're having to constantly reset. So the sensors probably have to come down to sort of correct these faults from these binary, the odd interaction between the dual brown dwarfs that are occupying the center of the system.
Okay, so we're having sensor issues, and there's debris all over the place. I would suggest we bring the ship to yellow alert.
All right. I don't know how to do that.
You wouldn't. The captain does that.
Yeah, so at this point, Eli sets the ship to yellow alert. And yeah, basically you can start, like, Rick, the sensor recalibration would be up to you.
Yep.
But you can also decide, like, you can also opt to just leave, like, rather than taking the sensor systems mostly offline, you can also decide just to leave it and just sort of deal with the annoyance.
No, I don't think that he would. I think it'd be rather the more temporary, like, security risk than a long-term security risk. Would be his main thinking.
So do you perform the diagnostic or leave the CR?
He'll perform the diagnostic.
So go ahead and give me a reason engineering roll, and I'll go ahead and spend 2 threat.
Does he have the help of the engineering team?
He has the help of the engineering team.
Then he's already got 1 success.
They are still highly motivated by the world of the fleet's best chief engineer in their eyes. He's got the mug to prove it.
No, I don't think he has.
He's got that signed picture of Rick meeting Chief Engineer O'Brien.
No, I don't think he has a focus that would apply here, but I don't have my character sheet up, so I can't.
I'll double check. No, you wouldn't.
So yeah, we don't have a focus. Momentum right now, so it's just the 2 dice.
3 successes. Plus
4.
1. Yeah. So with 4 successes, you're able to not only recalibrate the sensors, clear out the buffer, like clear out the sort of the errors that are crept into the system's calibration, but you're also able to do that without having the sensors go offline in full. You're sort of able to sort of like take one array offline, but then compensate by having another array sort of cast a fairly wide area over that coverage. So as you do this, you do notice a sensor ping. And it's just sort of like, it's not that you've detected, like the sensors have detected like a object. You have received a sensor ping.
Something's pinged us. The arrays have detected something.
Well, I think I can safely say going to yellow alert was definitely a good idea. Can we trace where it came from?
Yeah, potentially.
If I could potentially triangulate using how the various sensor arrays detected in the time like there, maybe I could come up with some kind of calculation for that.
Also, sorry if I don't seem to be helping, but my 3 specialties are command, security, and con, and we're not using those right now.
Not yet. I'm hoping that like one of those will apply this episode, at least. So, if you want to track down, like, get a general fix on where that ping was coming, that's going to be a combined sort of like combined engineering and science test. Both of those are going to require insight. So, say Grawl would be able to assist with the science reason or the science insight role, while Rick does the primary insight engineering role.
I'm assuming Grawl has more insight than Daniel, but could Daniel assist with the science side of things?
I will say not, just because I do want to limit how many assists we're making, because otherwise we can just kind of stack assist on assist and assist, make rolls very easy.
Also, I think you were supposed to roll 2 dice, Grawl.
Okay.
It was an assist.
No, he was the one.
Oh, okay.
So he was 2
Unfortunate for
successes.
us.
Okay, that was my confusion. I thought it was 2 full rolls, one for engineering, one for science. That's why I was asking to assist.
No. Yeah, it's just a flavor of assist, given specialization. So, yeah, so with that, you're able to detect that, well, the sensor ping came from space, but it's probably deep space. Maybe a passing vessel of some kind, but it doesn't appear to be anything local.
It seems to have come from space, out there somewhere.
You're sounding a bit like a Captain Proton novel there.
Well, it's the best we can do. It's just like vague in that direction. And Grawl just like points with one of his claws vaguely off to the right or something.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be coming from inside the system, at least. If it's something out there, as Gurel put it, then they know we're at least in the system.
Of course,
Do you
right
think-
now, we do need the smash cut to the black and white Captain Proton thing, where it's the title screen, "It came from space!"
Uh, so, do you think it could possibly be if we're saying that all the debris was from ships that were here in orbit? Do you think the ping could be from maybe a ship that got away from here and is trying to see if anyone's still here?
It's
I'd say it'd be more likely that it would be the ping of a hunter trying to find out if there was any prey in the area. If there's so much debris across the planet, then this has probably been used several times for attacks.
we don't really know who or why why they pinged. It could just be a automated sentry. It could be a civilization we haven't discovered yet. It could be a Federation ping, for all we know.
Well, if anybody wants my opinion, I'd say we're probably looking at some sort of pirate hunting ground. Easiest way to find out is to go down there and see what kind of wreckage this is.
Well, we could also tractor beam some of the remaining wreckage that's in space aboard, whatever uranium's still up here.
So I will go ahead and leave that decision to the archaeologist on station. So Grawl, this is a scientific expedition, so you kind of have the lead on that, of basically identifying, okay, what would be the most likely way of trying to identify what this ruined material is from?
Grow is going to draw up a plan to take a away team down to do some scans of it and examine it.
All right, Eli gives the approval to that plan, so who are you taking on that away mission?
Well, probably.
Looking at the players in chat.
Yeah.
Looking at the players in chat, do you bring down any accessory NPCs? You've got a wide selection.
I was gonna say, even though it makes no sense, we might as well take our chief engineer and like.
Yeah, bring down the senior crew.
You're identifying mechanical pieces. Why isn't the engineer a good idea?
Yeah, it's like, we got to bring down the senior engineer though, because like he is one of our least expendable people, so therefore he'll be fine. By rules of Star Trek, if we bring down someone who's expendable, they will be expended.
As for Kara, she has security training, so.
Yeah. So do you want to keep it to just effectively the 4?
Yeah, maybe like a couple extra science and security personnel who are nameless people who are, let's call them Jimmy and Bimmy.
So what you're saying is you want to see someone get turned into a dust cube.
Not a dust cube. They can always be turned into a polyhedron that's made out of like small amounts of styrofoam.
Well, if we were going to bring, additional security and science people, might I suggest Setsa and Zashis?
Sounds like a reasonable proposition. Yes, let's do that.
Okay, I'm looking at our list of characters, and we do have a Jimothy Murdoch, who is somehow a Farasin. I gotta revisit that. Like, what?
Don't worry, the dynamic red shirt duo of Jimmy and Slim will get to go on a mission someday.
Well,
the problem is they're already safe because you gave them names.
Yeah. You gave them names, but you didn't give them, like, a tragic, like, irony of going down on this mission. Like, no one's getting married.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those things. Ensign Jimmy doesn't get killed. Just Ensign, they're dead.
Yeah. So, at any rate, though, the away team assembles in the transporter. Setsa's got a nice little casual exploration. Zasius, he's got a sort of semi-armored jacket and is carrying a conclave lance.
Kara's got 2 weapons across her back, her Gauss rifle and her conclave Tetrion rifle.
Guerrero has got a pith helmet on and like an old-timey archaeologist outfit.
Does he have little glasses?
Yes.
Yeah.
Cute.
Rick's just got his Type 2 phaser.
I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to speak over you. I was going for a bit, and I don't know.
All right, are you just Daniel? When you're going down, are you bringing the spacesuit?
Yes, that's the bit I
Okay.
was going for. I didn't mean to talk. I don't know.
You're
No,
fine.
sorry.
At this point, I think we just assume you're going to bring the spacesuit everywhere.
I just wanted to give the opportunity for you not to take the spacesuit on a mission.
There will
Or at
come
least
a
the full
time
spacesuit.
when Daniel's been body snatched, and one of the clues will be that he goes on an away mission without the suit on.
Well, it's upgraded. Well, at any rate, though, the transporter officer is like, Grawl, you've picked out a likely location where you've picked out a little bit more of a concentration, and maybe something crashed there, hard to tell, and you relay those coordinates to the transporter officer. And with that, you guys are free to beam down into sort of the dusky glow of this binary brown dwarf system. Passing over this scrubby little plain, you got some peaky mountains in the distance, and kind of a craggy landscape, just because, again, it hasn't really been touched that much by plant life. And yeah, you're on the ground.
Sasha just kind of looks over at Kara and says, "So, mission parameters, Defiance?" Kara just nods and says, "Defense of the scientists. If there is something going on with pirates and the ship is attacked in orbit, we will not be able to be beamed up, so we'll have to form a defensive perimeter."
Also, phasers are really good with digging, so if need be.
Wait, if we thought that was a possibility, why didn't we just take a shuttle down?
Because it really wouldn't have helped any.
If the shield has to stay up, the shuttle won't be able to pass through the shield anyway.
Okay.
So, across this sort of gray-brown landscape, Grawl, you've got an objective. You got to go find some of the metal.
Girl starts scanning and also examines the wildlife. I assume like the plants here are purple.
Yep, purple to sort of maximize that energy capture from the dull red light.
Very
So
purplish
just
here.
trying to get they're very purple plants. They're somewhat pokey as well, crusty.
For the daytime, it's rather dim here, but I suppose that's to be expected.
So
And
go ahead and give.
Oh, I was going to say, never mind.
Okay, I was just going to say for the roll for doing the scanning, go ahead and insight science, and Setsa will assist as she does have planetary ecology experience.
We're all on a roll today.
So many complications today.
If only you were playing D&D.
Something about
Let's
the
see.
system did not like scanning.
All right, let's see how this goes. You do have, at this point, I'll say you guys have 2 momentum, so you could potentially re-roll that complication.
Now let's roll with it.
Excellent. So Setsa gives you 2 successes, and you've got that 1 complication. So you find, like, you're able to spot that, hey, like, the sensor reading that you picked up from orbit is a little bit more difficult to get down here on the ground. It's probably in one of those deep gullies. It's almost, that's about 80 meters away from you, or at least the start of it is. It looks like it goes a long way, gets pretty wide. Could be a bit of a water feature, or a bit of subsidence going. But yeah, you've got a pinpoint target for, well, where to go. It's just you're not able to read anything from it, and that's all you pick up at this point.
Looks like we've only got like a vague direction. Maybe we should start heading that way, unless like you guys can figure out a easier path.
Kara shrugs. It's all the same to me, and I'm just here to watch your back.
Is there any like magnetic resonance or other things that I can specifically tune Goral's tricorders to pick up?
No, it's not a question of detecting the metals. It's just the fact that the landscape is effectively blocking and refracting some of your scanning. Like, you could spend some time reconfiguring the tricorder, but it's close enough that you could just go look.
Yeah.
And being able to just go look is kind of why we're here. So Kara kind of lets Grawl lead, but we should head off in that direction.
And Grawl leads them into that direction.
Crunch, crunch, crunch goes the plants as you make your way as best you can across the rocky terrain. It's somewhat slow going if you're trying to not step on all the plants. Like there's pretty open areas around them. It's just that they form this relatively even network. or evenly spaced network of plants with connecting tubules. So they could be one plant, they could just be overgrowing each other with the root systems. It's hard to tell in that respect. But eventually you're able to make your way to sort of the edge of the ravine. There's a bit of a curve ahead. And, well, to get down, it's going to be a little bit of a climb. So, yeah. Everyone except one person who I know has anti-gravity technology will have to make a roll for just getting down as, reasonably as possible. So that will be a security fit. Apart from Daniel, who can use engineering control.
Kara's just going to jump straight down.
Okay.
Yeah, Rick will be climbing down.
And Kara got 3 successes. There's a massive whomp as she hits the bottom.
Burl is tiny and will be trying to climb down.
Setsa is soft and somewhat squishy, so she will also carefully climb down. Oh no. Should have spent a threat.
Oh, you didn't need to, because Rick got a complication.
Alright. So to sort of square the difference between
If he falls, he lands on Kara, just calling it now.
Well, okay.
She is the first one at the bottom.
She's the first one at the bottom, but sort of like Setsa and Grawl, like Grawl was able to get down and kind of scurried, actually, no, let's take a look at the rolls. Okay. So Setsa and Grawl are kind of working their way down together. Just carefully picking their way across this fairly steep sort of clay, dirt, rocky, not cliffside, but basically steep embankment that goes down quite a bit. DB, you're just floating by. I mean, you're just sort of like, you can just sort of like turn on your grav floater and just sort of float gently down with your arms crossed, even just sort of like doing a laying down posture, sort of waft gently as a feather.
Yeah, no, I was going to describe it as it's basically riding an invisible elevator down.
But Rick, you work out. Like this is you do rock climbing. This is no problem for you ever. So you start your way down after and fairly quickly you slip. And as you slip, you destabilize the ground, taking with you Setsa and Grawl, and the 3 of you are rapidly descending towards Kara.
Grawl tries to flap his arms to slow his progress with his feathery wings.
And Kara's going to try to catch whichever of them she's able to catch.
So let's go ahead and have you do a fitness security roll for catching, and just bracing at the same time, just in case it becomes more of a slap. Grawl, I'll say that with your flapping, you're just going to descend more slowly than the others, so you'll be fine, and you'll impact last. But with Kara, she's able to, catch the one that's going to be descending first, which is Setsa, and then using her body, or not Setsa's body, but Kara, using your body to brace the impact to sort of catch Rick. And then... boom,
I've got 2 arms.
Yeah, 2 arms, so yeah, you catch them both, and then Grawl just sort of, like, lands on top of your head.
Just picturing, like, Daniel's floating down, like, arms crossed, elevator style, and then suddenly...
Actually, I imagine at this point, Daniel's probably taking pictures of what just happened.
Grawl moves on to Kara's shoulder like a parrot.
You hear Rick keep
works.
groaning. Just, it's not really hurt physically, it's more hurt. Oh, that was utterly embarrassing.
Sets up Pat's
down and
Sets up-
soft asks, "You guys good? Y'all good?"
I'm fine.
Setsa says, "Yeah, we're fine," and she pats Rick on the back. "Oh, don't worry, yeah, accidents happen."
Didn't your mother tell you there'd be days like this?
Yeah. Well, I didn't, just climbing down a rock face is something... I've done a lot of, like, rock climbing in the holodeck. It's one of the things I do to keep physically in shape, and, it's just not, let's just say I haven't had that happen to me before.
Hey, don't forget how we met Captain Cole. Wonders if I'm the only one who remembers this.
Yeah, no, on top of the mountaintop with a broken arm, yes, I remember.
Who is Captain Cole?
Daniel just asked the same thing in character.
You guys weren't on the ship at that point. The first captain of the Reliant was actually Captain Cole, but she ended up being promoted.
Oh, well, good for her, I guess.
Not
She
really. Her ship was utterly destroyed by the Borg, and she was assimilated.
Oh. Well.
We got her back.
Well. There's no follow-up to this. I'm just gonna let it lie there.
Alrighty, so as the dust settles, you guys are standing together, potentially just being carried by Kara in the sort of the bottom of this.
Kara has definitely set down Setsa and Rick. Grawl, I guess, is kind of just hanging on, so that's up to him.
Wait a minute, we've had 2 captains and both have been assimilated by the Borg.
Oh, I assimilated Graves. It's like, is that Borg or I don't know?
The Borg haven't touched Captain Graves or Captain Eli.
Well,
that doesn't mean that Graves didn't get assimilated by something. Stares at Zacius and then back to work.
I think we should try to protect our next captain a lot more.
But yeah, you guys are at the bottom of the ravine, and onward. Yeah, it curves a little bit, but you can kind of start seeing. There's a bit of metal over there.
Do you suppose this small rift down here was formed by the impact?
Yep.
Grawl is. I assume Rick, you can take.
Yeah. It could possibly be. There would have to be a lot of energy being put in to disrupt and separate the ground like that. But
well, what the heck? Kara's an android. She starts running the calculations on the math.
It's hard to say whether or not the what remains is large enough to warrant that.
I guess if I did a science reason roll, I could try to figure out how likely it is that this was carved by a chunk of metal, right?
Yep, go for it.
Positronic brain coming in clutch. 2 successes.
All right, with 2 successes, it's kind of unlikely given the morphology. The fact that you have this little bit of a curve, and just nothing in the sort of surrounding terrain looks like it's been shattered. This looks like it's a bit of subsidence or weathering.
No, never mind. I've run the numbers. It's unlikely that this is a natural formation.
But not really picking large enough chunks that could do it either. If either it was massive I can't think of the word, really, where it just sort of disintegration of uranium, or it was picked up, if that would be the case anyway. But it's apparently...
It was an interesting diversion for a few moments.
Daniel mutters to himself something about really needing to look into expanding the range of his chrono scanner as he starts clambering down towards the chunk of metal to get a closer look.
Well, you're able to walk just sort of along the base of the gully, because you're just sort of at the bottom of this not quite big enough to be a canyon.
I was about to say, this is basically a slot canyon.
Yeah, basically. And you're able to just proceed along, and you see that, well, the metal doesn't look like it's a fragment of a ship. Rather, it's part of a wall.
Huh.
Well, Daniel looks back and says, so, what was that about just the metal being used more generally on the planet being less likely?
What's an advanced metal? It would require a lot of advanced metalworking tech and foundries and stuff. But
so as you see that there's a wall, there's another largely destroyed. Well, another what was probably a structure once, but you're only seeing maybe 1.5 walls of it, and associated debris kind of scattered around, including things that look like wreck. Something that any of you would be immediately familiar with. You can go ahead and scan it.
Grawl is going to scan it.
Daniel would like to scan it.
I was going to go for the physical exploration of just going over and placing hands on and looking around.
Yeah.
All right.
Rick is doing the same thing.
So for the people that are looking around, go ahead and give me insight engineering. For the people who have decided to scan, you get immediate pings. And specifically, you get the ping that this is the writing that is used. It's an archaic form. It's used by the Niberite Alliance, a multi-planet power basically to the galactic north, of the region Starbase Magellan is inhabiting.
Also, holy crap, Rick and I hit it out of the park.
So when you're hitting it out of the park there with 2 successes, Kara, you're able to find that, hey, like there's a set of buildings here, and they're sort of built into this ravine to take advantage of the turn. It looks like some of the structures even like went back into the slot canyon. There could still potentially be areas that are intact there, but given the amount of time it looks like it's been, like you wouldn't necessarily trust the structural integrity of anything that's like been dug out here. Odds are with the sort of the not terribly strong sediment, it's either collapsed in or is about to. And with 3 successes, you're able to basically see the same thing. That this looks like a small little outpost, and it doesn't necessarily. It just looks like it's just an outpost, a little enclave, potentially something that was associated. You do find though that there's another like smashed open crate there that looks considerably newer, and you can go ahead and scan the writing on that.
Alright, he'll give it a try. He won't necessarily be all that great with it, but he'll give it a try.
Well, we can just bring it to Grell's attention and have Grell scan.
And
How immediately we got the scans came back with like who built this stuff. I imagine by now Daniel and Goral probably caught up with the others.
yeah,
Yep.
and I assume we can like translate it since it's a known archaic form of a known language, or not.
Oh, sorry, I had my finger on the wrong button. So yeah, what you're able to find are either building labels or little bits of like signs for like warning, like blast material, or like things like for some of the more fragmentary material, it's like things that are just part of daily life. It's like this is a small inhabited house. You're just finding the detritus associated.
This
And
looks
then
like
go ahead.
this looks like this was a really old neighborite alliance outpost. Maybe we should contact them.
Well, that crate certainly isn't. I don't
Yes.
recognize the writing on it.
Definitely something newer. They're not doesn't have the same level of decomposition and rust. Or grime even.
Can you get us a translation there, Grell?
And Grow is going to attempt to translate it.
You translate it, it's Gorn.
It seems to be Gorn.
And specifically, it's a munitions and ration pack that has been opened up. And at this point, you guys get a call from the Reliant. Lieutenant Moon says, away team, we have picked up additional sensor pings. They're growing in intensity. Recommend you, and then he cuts off.
Joy!
I hope whatever's been messing with the scanners hasn't just made comms drop out.
No, it's more likely we're being specifically blocked. We need to find out if any of these shelters are at least somewhat stable. We need to set up a defensive position.
There is a possibility if we find some source of power in one of these cables, something we could use to generate power, that we could try and boost the signal and punch through the interference or whatever's blocking the signal, but unlikely, at least for now.
The best you're going to find is maybe some weapon power packs in that Gorn crate. But even then, it looks like it's been pretty well looted.
Well, there is the battery for my gauntlet here. The one that the one. It's usually only enough for 1 or 2 pulses before I need to recharge it, but it does draw a lot of power.
Rick will try and run the numbers, see if that would be enough to try and punch a communication message through the jam. Even if it does work, we won't be able to get much. It won't last for very long.
Okay, everyone go ahead and give me a fitness or daring security roll.
Okay.
Decided to stop and run the numbers rather than immediately get into a defensive position. So
I was about to say something like that, but
I want to get to a particular scene before we take a break. So that's why I'm kind of scooting things along.
well, I will say that as this happens, Zashius and Kara were trying to find a defensible position.
Okay, so you get a defensible position, so you can go ahead and just basically skip the roll. You're already in cover. But let's see.
I did it anyway because that's my best roll. Why wouldn't I do at least a little bit?
All right. So Grawl with 1 success, Rick with 2 successes, and then DB with no success.
I don't see Growl's roll.
I even have
Oh, that was the Magellan 1 success roll, the 14-2.
Oh, okay. That's farther up than I thought. Okay, bit up.
Yeah, unfortunately, I rolled the 25% chance of failure because I actually have a decent daring security roll.
Well, Rick, like you're deep in concentration and just trying to run the numbers, and you're getting a speculative picture that this might work, and like you see the green flash, and your training kicks in, and you just immediately drop, so you're able to sort of avoid fire. And you're in a perfectly good position. Grawl, you get shocked by it, or you're not shocked as in hit, but it takes you by surprise, but you're able to sort of scrabble into a defensive position. While the shot hits DB. So, DB, let us go through your suit. Do you have anything that would provide a blade of protection against an energy
I mean, the suit.
weapon? Besides just, doing damage to the suit.
Yes, I will say, it's not. I wouldn't have acted. Just this doesn't really apply, but I'm mentioning it anyway, just cause it's not active right now. But I do have the personal shields, that's built in. But aside from that, there is also the neutronium armor layer.
All right, but the neutronium is so thin; it's mostly a stealth armor. So at this point, the armor, your shield isn't on, or at least it doesn't catch on in time with an automaton to sort of get it on when there's trouble faster than you can. So you do take the hit. It doesn't get into past the layers of protection, past the neutronium, but your suit is now compromised to the effect of you probably have a stealth hole in it where sensors would be able to ping you, and also you've taken some damage to your life supports. So you might have some issues with using sophisticated systems on your suit, but you're going to have to do a diagnostics. But at any rate, though, you guys are getting shot at from the high and the other end of the can. So as Zacius and Kara are able to see, and especially Kara, you're just able to pick this right up. You've got a Gorn sniper, like a smaller individual with a high power rifle. So they are taking pot shots at you. But as they're taking,
go ahead.
Before we get on to break here, before they they start taking some shots at you, they're fixed in. But as they are taking these shots, you see a shimmer from right behind them. And as that shimmer fades, you see a hulking, 7-foot-tall, blue-armored figure effectively just come up from behind, lower this massive tubular weapon, and blast this Gorn from behind with a Tetrion blast. And you recognize what that individual is, because as the the remnants of the Gorn fall down the side of the gully, you see the Hirogen cloak again. And with that, let's go ahead and take a break. So, as we return, you guys just saw some antagonism between, first a Gorn directed in your direction, then a Hirogen directed towards the Gorn.
Well, knowing what I do about Hirogen, Kara is going to take her Gauss rifle and fire a full-powered shot into the cliff, roughly under where those people were.
Control security.
2 successes.
That Gauss rifle hits hard and causes a small landslide. Basically right on point with where that Hirogen was standing. And basically before he's able to step away, you take the ground from. There's a bit of a shimmer, then a flash as the shrouding system of the Hirogen suit, and he ends up in a heap at the bottom of the ravine. But he's quickly getting back up because, damn it, those suits are pretty pretty tough.
Daniel groans with a smoldering hole in the back of his suit, just flat on the ground, and he just kind of tries to turn on his personal shield, which was only meant to be as a failsafe in case he gets a suit breach in space. Well, he's not in space, but he does have a suit breach.
And Zesius is going to try to follow up Kara's shot by trying to blast the Hirogen with a stun.
And Rick will follow after that.
All right. I'll roll for Zasius, and then Rick, basically, with your reaction time, you're going to be effectively like, it's a 1-2 punch. So go ahead and give me a control security roll.
The Conclave is here to kick ass and take names.
And says Rick, who's got a phases focus, but doesn't get a 4 that he needed.
Well, with 2 successes, you guys are able to basically just 1-2 punch that Hirogen down while Grawl angrily shakes a trowel in their direction.
Right. So, Hirogen. Conclave database says threat level Delta. These guys aren't jokes, but compared to the Jim Hadar that we've dealt with, they're... well, you saw.
Daniel, like, shakily stands up. I thought you said there were only plants on here, on this planet.
Well, now we know where the debris came from, possibly.
Well, looks like it's probably a mixture of Niborite and Gorn debris, and who knows, it might be stuff the Hirogens have been hunting. This planet is unexpectedly popular.
I didn't think the Hirogen were out this far.
With how it seems to naturally disrupt scanners in a non-suspicious way, I guess it's a decent strategic holding.
Good point.
Rick, you would be able to check, like, would the Hirogen be out this far? Because Voyager did get a map of the Hirogen communication relays. You can cross-reference that with where you guys are.
Yeah, he will cross-reference that.
So what you're able to find is that the area, the Shackleton expanse, that Starbase Magellan is set to explore, is right on the edge of that network. You guys are in this sort of like, for at least historical Hirogen territory, you guys are right on the edge of that.
Goody. So let's see. Got Gorn rebels who might want to kill us, and Hirogen who might want to make a treasure out of us. Well, that's one Gorn sniper down, and Sleeping Beauty over there is not going to be getting up anytime soon, but that still doesn't get us off this planet.
Well, the batteries from DB's gloves should be enough to at least temporarily allow us to punch through them.
Hey, why don't we actually check the Hirogen for comms gear? And saying that, Kara will wave for Zasius to stay, and she'll get up and start moving towards the Hirogen they downed.
Rick will join her. He will still have his phaser out just in case, but he will look for any equipment as well.
I mean, Kara's still carrying the Gauss rifle, so for this guy's sake, I hope he's stunned, because if he gets up, he's getting a lethal round.
No, you got 4 successes worth of stun on him. He is out hard. Just that combination of Federation, high like advanced Federation phaser work, plus a Conclave disruptive lance. Yeah, he's out. His armor is also effectively kind of going into a reboot mode. But you're able to search him for community gear. There's some that's embedded into his helmet, and through a small pack on his back, you're able to pick out additional additional components for comms gear that would be useful in repairing systems.
Well, Kara just kind of lightly kicks him in the leg and just says, I don't think he's going anywhere. Rick, you can take what you need from him. He'll have to make it back on his own.
Yeah, he will Rick will salvage whatever he can.
Yeah, you're able to salvage enough to, with additional power input, you're able to salvage enough to build a small communications device.
Now we're talking.
Right. Does this need to be a roll for it, or just kind of...
you get the components, but the question's going to be assembling it.
Yeah.
Daniel
So
has
that will require...
integrating technology, and seeing as we're plugging his suit into this alien communications tech, I feel like that should apply.
Absolutely, that applies.
So we'll rejoin the others, and Kara and Zasius remain on watch, because, frankly, who knows where the next shot's going to come from.
Have you guys done a head count yet?
Where's Jimmy?
That's a good point. I wouldn't have thought that anybody could disappear, but I guess suppose Setsa hasn't said anything for a bit.
Yeah, Setsa hasn't said anything for a bit, so she's not apparently there.
Of all the times for her to wander off. Rick, Sashis, stay here with Grawl and DB. Or with yeah, no, not DB. Yes, DB? Daniel, yes.
Yes.
And Kara basically just kind of starts trying to look for the wireless signal basically from Setsa's brain and anywhere nearby.
It leads to a barrel.
I don't remember there being a barrel here. Kara goes over.
Well, inside is Setsa. She's hiding.
Kara just kind of pokes her head in and says, "Tell us before you hide next time."
Sorry. I saw the weapons firing. Decided to make myself scarce.
Didn't you almost get, court-martialed for that kind of thing before?
Yeah, I didn't bring a weapon, though.
Kara takes the Tetrion rifle off her back and holds it out to Setsa.
Setsa gets out of the barrel and inspecting the Herodes.
No, it's a Conclave weapon.
Oh, you didn't take the...
I didn't take his weapon. Yeah. We probably might have disassembled part of it, but I don't think we took it.
Okay. So yeah, she
weapons. So if we need to grab weapons, him with a sniper rifle mightn't be a bad option.
Yeah, there might be a Gorn sniper rifle laying somewhere too.
Yeah.
Come to think of it, I think weapons are one of the few things we're going to have plenty of on this planet.
Yeah. Yeah, you're able to sound while Rick's working on the device, which would be a control engineering role to carefully assemble the components together, with an assist from you after you picked out the sniper rifle, the landslide. Oh, cool.
Oh, wait, I'm only assisting?
Rick is your chief engineer. He will be the one fabricating the device.
Fair.
He's already got 2 successes, so...
So that was engineering what?
Control. And it's 1 dice for the success, but it focus applies, so your crit range is going to be equal to your engineering skill. Dun, 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 dun.
I really should give Rick a field construction focus.
Yeah, I mean, we have to do it a level up band at some point where we get to add some stuff, so yeah, you definitely keep that in mind. Probably when we get back to Starbase Magellan next. We have all hands on deck. But yeah, DB, that's the engineering control roll with 1 dice and crit range equal to your engineering skill.
Also, I just realized what I was doing wrong. I was doing /R instead of /D20. That's why the different variables weren't popping up. Sorry about that.
And a crit.
All right. So yeah, with 4 successes there, you're able to assemble this comms device, and immediately you start picking up the Herogen communications. So you're going to be able to tune that to Starfleet frequencies, but what you get at first is basically a set of effectively these barking hunting orders that are triangulating positions on Gorn rebels in the area. So it looks like that Herogen are hunting the Gorn, and the Gorn have established this covert base on the planet. So you get a little bit of that lay of the land of like what you're actually dealing with.
All right, and then he'll pass that information on to everyone else, and then we work in the battery so he can. The battery's already worked in. Change the frequencies so that he could use the Herogen's own network to contact the Reliant. Victor to Reliant.
Lieutenant Moon here.
So we have I'm not sure how things are going up there, but we have Gorn and Herogen on the surface.
Copy that. Well, we're seeing similar things up here. We got a Herogen Apex battlecruiser entering the system, but they're being flanked by Gorn raiders. So there's a bit of a space battle going on right here, and we are staying well clear. We're trying to pierce through the interference coming from somewhere on the planet that's blocking regular communications and transport.
Do you have any coordinates? Hopefully they're nearby. We can deal with the interference, then beam up and leave this to between the Gorn and the Herogen.
Let's see. I think we should. There we go. Yeah. We got a position. It's about 2 kilometers away from you guys.
So this is all on basically open comms. Everyone can hear this right now.
So 2 kilometers over basically open ground with snipers and hunters everywhere.
Well, there is one additional asset we can deploy to your location.
John,
John,
even if it takes longer, I'd say that's a better option than us trying to go through open right now. Open ground is just a death sentence.
All right, John's reviewing security preparations in case of boarding, but we can redirect and send him down right now.
Take your time. We have a defensive position where we are.
Understood. Line out. Stay safe.
Kara just kind of ducks down behind some of the debris and says, well, you heard the man. Zacius and I will be the last people out. Everybody else, John will probably be taking you one at a time.
I should probably go first just to ensure that where we're going is both structurally and security.
Should I go second since I have since I'm kind of plugged into our only way of communicating? So if it's safe. Actually, I guess if it's, I don't know. Never mind.
You should be going with John back to the ship, so it should be safe.
Yeah, you guys do realize John's going to come down to the planet. And
Bring
he
us
can jump
back.
you guys to the point of interference. So you guys can, if you want to try to solve the conflict, that might be an option. But if you just want to skedaddle, you could just have John bring you home.
Okay,
I mean,
which we were going, and one person started talking about going to the second location. So I thought that's what.
let's look at our options here. Herodian, violent, not known to negotiate. Gorn rebels, violent, not known to negotiate. Both sides, hostile to Starfleet. Look, there's a time and a place for diplomacy, but if we're going to do any diplomacy, I'd rather do it from on the ship.
Yeah, I think the Herodian are going to be more interested in taking trophies than talking.
And clearly the Gorn aren't happy to see us either.
We might be able to talk with the Gorn. I mean, I'm reptilian. You were reptilian, and you kind of are reptilian. You got a reptilian type body, and Rick is a Saur, so they might be willing to talk with us.
I'd still rather do it from the comfort of the ship. So either way, getting back to the ship would seem to still be our main priority.
Alright, well, technically still Goral's mission, so up to him.
Yeah, we're all your team leaders. So you get to make the call.
I don't think we're figuring out anything or talking with them, so I think we should head back to the ship.
All right, well, we're dug in. We just have to wait for John.
Daniel's gonna go over and look at the bodies right now while we wait, and just say, "Man, I just did not see it coming at all."
And actually,
So you walk over to the Herodian out of cover.
We were in cover?
yes,
I mean, you're basically, you guys are
we're dug
this
in
small
at the
encampment.
ruins
Yeah.
with whatever cover we could find.
And then distant is where the body fell from the small avalanche. So to go inspect the Herodian, you would need to walk out into the open in the gully and then go see it. It was still asleep.
No, never mind. I thought we went over and got the components from the suit to make the communicator, and then just kind of built it. I just
You came back into cover to build it. So
sorry, just in my brain, it was like, we dealt with the threat in this immediate area. So
We think we did. Keep in mind that
got-
Herodian can be invisible. Anyway, now that I think about it, the first person out should be DB. He got shot.
I'm
all right.
I've got a shield. They didn't get through my suit.
Not to say that was the point I was expecting another sniper bolt to come and hit him.
I was considering it, but let's just go ahead and have John. There's a big blue flash, and John just appears. He's just like, "Hello, John T. Tardigrade, your friendly little taxi service. Where are we going?"
Well, back to the ship. One by one, I would assume.
Yeah, I'm not gonna try to do something big because maybe we end up somewhere else, and Doesn't look like there's any like ships here with like air. Let's get you guys back to the ship one by one.
Yeah, Zacius and I will go last. It's up to Grawl who goes first, but I still vote DB.
DB should go first. He's been hit.
Okie dokes. So, DB, John is standing a few feet away from you. You need to touch hands with John.
Okay, fine. I was really trying to find some excuse for Daniel to realize that cloaking tech on individual suits was a thing that he could maybe think about integrating. But
I mean, you need an example of the technology, but that would involve like field stripping Hirogen from his armor. That might be difficult in itself. Plus, it's in a
or regenetically engineering a Jem'Hadar because they do it naturally.
Anyway, I guess Daniel's gonna go over, just gonna walk over to John and say, "You guys sure? Should I guess we could probably communicate through this thing, through this radio, from my end on the ship." Daniel's carrying the jerry-rigged transmitter that's plugged into his suit.
Daniel, get the hell out of here.
So John just grabs onto his leg and spore jumps out. And as they spore jump out, another, let's say a green disruptor bolt, like, flashes by where he was standing.
Shit! Kara tries to figure out what direction it came from.
Opposite end of the canyon, somewhere over there. Go ahead and give me a insight security roll for anyone who wants to try to locate the fire.
Kara got 1 success.
Find any free table near the transporter, or near wherever John dropped him off, to try and contact them through the jerry-rigged radio.
So your jerry-rigged radio is hooked up to your suit, which is now on the Reliant, out of range of the others. You cannot contact them. But John, he can just sport jump back and forth. So he's going back down to basically go.
Okay, I guess I just figured since we were using it to contact the ship, it could go from the ship to them.
Well, like, they're not hooked into your suit. Like, your suit being on the ship is basically like them trying to contact the ship.
Okay.
So, let's see. With one success, you're able to just sort of get the general location, just a look. But Rick, you actually spot another Gorn sniper. But there's actually like a Gorn sniper and a couple other Gorn that are coming down the ravine. So they are fully intent on kind of assaulting your position. It looks like at this point.
Rick will point out where the Gorn are. 3 of them coming down, 2 into the valley, 1 set up for sniper.
Kara is going to basically consider her options, and then at a point, well in front of the Gorn, she's going to fire another shot into the side of the canyon to cause another landslide, or try to.
Growl shouts, perhaps we can discuss this. We've got, like, reptilians here.
Like, another sniper bolt, like, pops by.
I tried.
Yeah, I'm going to see if I can block the way.
All right, so go ahead and give me a control security.
Can Rick help with, engineering expertise?
I mean, you can assist with the phaser.
Yep. All right. Yeah, Rick will join in with his phaser shot. Just 1 shot.
Yep, 1 shot, and you have a focus in phasers, so that applies.
I mean, I don't think this will do anything about the sniper, but it might cut off the people trying to assault us, so...
Okay, crit from Rick.
No, it's going to do something against the sniper, too. With 4 successes there, you're able to, lash essentially diagonally along the rock face. Or Rick's able to, with the phaser, to sort of slash diagonally across from the sniper position to sort of like the base of the ravine where the Gorn have advanced to, leading the shot from Kara to effectively like collapse that section and create a little bit of a chain reaction in the slide of material to not only destabilize where that Gorn was for the sniper, but also block off a considerable section. Like, it's still, like, they'll still be able to climb that, but they immediately don't have a line of sight on you for where the material has come down the canyon.
Well, That has solved the problem non-fatally for the moment, but I don't know how much longer that's going to hold out.
John pops back.
John, I hate to say it, but go get that Hirogen. If those Gorn get over here, they're not going to take lightly to that guy, even if he is down.
John says, okay! And he just starts immediately, bounding towards the Hirogen. Does anyone watch John as he does this?
Kara's busy on the lookout for more snipers.
Rick will have a glance over, see what's going on.
So we'll go all.
So as you guys glance over, you see a little bit of a shimmer over to the right. There's another Hirogen there.
Hell.
He's basically camping the body of the other Hirogen.
Oh.
And John's bounding over.
Kara turns and just kind of says under her breath, "Not your lucky day," and fires off a shot.
Rick will
This is the
warn...
Gauss rifle, so if I hit, this guy's going splatter.
Rick will warn John. Watch out, there's another Hirogen.
All right. Kara, go ahead and give me control security.
2 successes.
2 successes, you fire, and there's a heavy dong as you hit the armor. And, the Hirogen falls back, and you see that the armor is basically in this sort of section by the torso has been heavily concaved, but hasn't broken.
Kara just kind of looks over, thinking to herself, the Hirogen's body under that has to be deformed in the same way, so not certain if that's better or worse.
And as John is bounding over, he grabs the falling Hirogen, drags him over, and takes both to the Reliant.
Well, that should get us some information.
So, suddenly sees John appear with 2 Hirogens, both on the floor, but one still moving.
And groaning very painfully. Ooh!
Yeah. John's like, I gotta take these guys to the med bay and security, so be right back. He starts just dragging them with tardigrade strength, just gripping heavily into the floor tiles, leaving scratch marks as he's powerfully dragging both of them.
How dare you! I am Great Hunter!
Daniel will just kind of fall behind and try to help move them, and just say, yes, Great Hunter, you've been shot, live to hunt another day, or something, and just try to help drag.
For a Jem'Hadar, wounding their pride can be fatal.
Well, back on the planet. Well,
for Hirogen too. I meant to say that, not Jem'Hadar, but
so this takes a little while though for John to bring the Hirogen to sickbay and make his own run. So in that time, 2 of the assaulting Gorn have started climbing over the pile of debris that's been left in their way.
Kara's just going to shout out, "Go back the way you came unless you want to be shot."
Sort of what one of them just slinks down, the other kind of stands atop it and just calls out, "What business does Starfleet have on this world? We claim it in the name of the mighty Gorn hegemony."
Oh, girl, you wanted to talk.
We were just doing science things. We were just looking around.
Science this far out into space? We know Federation territories. This is too far. Too far, I say!
Do you have any idea how close you are to Starbase Magellan?
The one Gorn looks to the other, and the other shouts back, "We know your alliance with the Klingon Empire. You are bedfellows with our oppressors."
Right, that wasn't the question. The question was, do you understand the small amount of distance between that station and here?
The other Gorn shouts, "I am beginning to see the distinction." "Quiet," says, "You quiet. This has gone very sideways."
Look, you can't lay claim to this planet anyway. There are Niborite ruins here that predate your arrival.
"Well, are they here to substantiate that claim?" says the first one, the shoutier of the 2.
This is the point at which a Niborite away team suddenly appears.
It does not.
I mean, they have a point.
Bunkering back a hollow emitter with one of them on.
Kara just kind of, is still in cover with her gun out and just says, "All right, do we really want to do bigger gun diplomacy? I don't want to shoot you. In fact, we just want to leave."
"Well, you
You, impetuous. Yeah, I'm also the reason we're alive here. The Rojan are just completely animals. So, okay, Starfleet, I'm taking over here. My brother is kind of an idiot. Anyway, so you're just, going to leave after doing science, correct?
Technically, we did the science. We're ready to leave.
Okay, that's fine by us. We're also evacuating this planet. I'd recommend doing the same. The Rojan, apparently this is one of the hunting grounds. I don't know if they actually, drove out the Nabarite. I mean, it's hard to tell. These places are pretty old.
Right, so truce. You go your way, we go ours.
Very much so. Question, did you see another, recon operative out here? Had, small guy, glasses?
We saw what was left of him after the Hirogen got him.
Oh, I see. Well, at the 5th we've lost it. Hopefully we're putting an end to that.
Car just stays behind cover.
The other one just sort of growls angrily and then just sort of slinks back, where Zizek, the sort of the medium size of the bear, just kind of sits at the top of the berm and takes a long drink. Kind of just fairly confident you guys aren't going to try anything.
Well, Car just sits back and waits.
Growl turns to
John?
Kara. Is Sizik a common name? I think we had somebody on the ship by the name of Sizik.
Well, I know that syzygy is a word, but that's a human word anyway.
It may be a fairly common name, Rojan. Or, sorry, I'm wrong.
Yeah, the Gorn do like their S names for some reason.
And John returns, saying, "Hey, we got prisoners, and they're securely locked away. So who next?"
It's up to the leader.
I guess everyone else one at a time, starting, I guess, with Rick Tier.
Alright,
John
we'll
salutes and
see you on the other side. Rick will salute and then go to John to touch him.
yeah, and one by one, John's able to bring everyone back. Just kind of proceeding along the sort of the row of operations. The Gorn don't try anything. You don't get any more Hirogen ambushes, and eventually, Car's the last one to be beamed out. At that point, transported out. The Gorn's just kind of watching curiously as this strange, small little bug-like creature is just flashing back and forth, kind of making a mental note. And just sort of gives a sort of an odd Gorn wave as Car is about to transport to spore jump out.
Well, Car arrives back on the ship. She just says, "All right, John, I definitely owe you a dinner of roast mushrooms. I'll get on that later."
Excellent.
Okay, good. So, yeah, probably get up to the bridge.
And Car is actually going to head up that way as well. And when she arrives, she's just tell the captain of this place is a clusterfuck.
And Eli basically gives you a comment of, yes, we are, that is becoming very apparent. And at that point, Kara, you're able to take, between you and Moon, you're able to warp out of the system as the Apex battlecruiser is engaging the Gorn. The clusterfuck continues on.
I don't know. Somebody send a message to the Neberites, see if they're still interested in this pocket of space at all. If you want my opinion, and I'm going to have to write this up in a report, but I didn't see anything there that's worth fighting the Gorn and the Hirogen over.
It seems like it was not even a proper colony, more like military station.
Yeah, a old outpost that the Neberites no longer manned after a long time ago.
I'm not suggesting that they have a great interest in it, but since it could be a claim based on theirs, we should at least let them know.
And Grow is going to send the information on to Starfleet to command, and hopefully it'll get relayed to the Neberites.
When we get back to Magellan, we can turn the Hirogen over to Mercer, and once they're debriefed, we can maybe learn something.
And yeah, basically with that, the Reliant proceeds back to Starbase Magellan. You don't arrive there quite yet, but you're well on your way, and without further trouble from your various aggressors. And with that, we'll call the sort of end to what I had planned for this episode. In time for it to not be a two-parter.
I'm just laughing at the idea that for once we didn't end up so much in the problem as witnessing two other people having a problem.
Yeah, that's kind of the idea of the episode, just to say hey, this area of space might be a little bit chaotic. You have powers interacting that we haven't seen interact before.
Who knows? There might be a third one if the Nipperites decide they do want this planet.
Oh God.
I do want to say, I'm assuming that since the I'm blanking on their name, the people we captured, the
Hirogen.
Hirogen.
Thank you. Sorry. I'm assuming that since they've been captured and also medically addressed, that their armor has been removed at some point.
Yes, parts of the armor have been removed. Like, not the whole thing, because otherwise they're kind of butt naked, but, like, enough has been removed that they're not going to be as secure.
Okay.
The thing to note, though, is that if you're looking for, say, the cloaking device, that is under secure storage. Because Starfleet Intelligence wants to take a look at that.
Okay.
So you're not going to be able to take it apart and integrate it into your suit because greater powers have decided we want this technology because we need to examine how they're able to achieve this and how.
And all I can say is that gift just makes me think of how much armor they've got left.
Okay. I do want to just have a little visual of Daniel with his suit. Daniel in. It's either in engineering or in his room. Either works. Just with his suit on one table, just the whole facing up, and most of Hirogen's suit on another table. He's kind of like going between the two, fixing his suit and taking notes on the Hirogen suit.
Also,
So,
just
like-
for the listeners, I should point out that this is actually the second GIF I threw in the chat channel from 1984's Dune. Before I used the Baron back when DB was floating down, and now it's Fade Ralpha, wearing his tiny weird metal shorts.
Sting being very Sting. At any rate, though, so Daniel, you're able to study the suit, but yeah, you're not able to take any component because it's very much a Starfleet wants this stuff.
Okay, fair.
Not every opportunity is a salvage opportunity, but you can keep an eye out for it in future. Maybe trading ports and stuff.
Yes. Now
After the bazaar, I'm sure they've got Hirogen stuff if you can pay.
Daniel has been made aware that this technology exists, and he is very interested.
Indeed.
Alright. I do have something to add to sort of flavor. As the Reliant has entered the system of Magellan, the Archer system, before they actually managed to dock, there's some word about the Syntharium station, the station that they just came from. Firstly, the Federation and SOAR are currently in discussion about what to do with it. That the Federation Archaeological Council will assist the SOAR in processing all the data that was downloaded, but also, just figure out what to do with the station itself, because it is a major archaeological find, and the SOAR have no archaeologists. So there's...
Well, I do happen to know a very good reptilian archaeologist.
How do the SOAR not have any archaeologists?
It's just we've been basically in survival mode. First with the star about to go nova on their original home world, well, what they thought was their world being destroyed. There being the original home world being an ice world before that. And then moving to a new world, they don't really have the impetus to do that kind of research.
Fair, I guess.
And secondly, Setsa's paper or whatever she's done regarding the research, regarding the stuff that the garden,
the ecology.
The botany, that research that she's done, is getting a lot of interest in that, and well, it's until the SOAR and Archaeological Council figure out what to do, that's that's also on hold. Finally, there is still the unanswered question of what to do with the synth construction facilities. So that is something that is hanging in the air right now. And now,
Interesting.
Coolly.
Because the
Very
Conclave
interesting
have
indeed.
copied the synth form, but this would give some other power the ability to do so as well, presuming that this facility is repaired and reactivated.
that is obviously a prerequisite.
And with driver tech, you could even take organics and turn them into synths. Just feel like looking out at the audience. Who wants to be a robot?
There's a smattering of hand crew.
Yeah, there's always weirdos like me.
Yeah. But with that, any other scenes that we have for the night? I mean, no, we can go ahead and end it there and say bye-bye.
No, I mean, Kara's just got to file reports. And it's kind of one of those things of, file the report with the Hirogen of like, yeah, they're here. Yeah, they're still not anywhere near as dangerous as they think they are.
Also, that armor is tough. Maybe
Yeah.
not stand on the surface of a sun tough, but still tough.
I mean, I guess it's good for that guy, because I thought he was going to explode into a bunch of beef stroganoff.
Well, Hirogen armor is set, they do, hype it up a lot the Hirogen hype it up a lot. With the
Yeah,
stories
but as
they
we
tell
all
about
know, the
that armor,
Hirogen are
but-
bigger talkers than they are anything else.
Exactly. It's enough to survive a railgun hit, but at the same time, the Hirogen isn't long to live unless he gets medical care thereafter.
Well, he got it, whether he wanted it or not. So, I'm done for the night.
Radio? Grawl, anything else?
Nope.
Coolly. And with that, let us say good night, bye-bye, and we have an email at reliant@serviceugc.com.
If you want to be a robot, write in and tell us.
Put in the subject line, I want to be a robot. And we'll write something in reply.
We'll probably write beep boop in reply.
All right, good night all.
Bye.